I want to talk just a minute about a question that's come up about whether or not you should be farming Otherworldly or if you should be farming Rift. Which is better, which one you should be going for, and what's better for your account, and is Otherworldly Breach and Otherworldly Hunts bad value, so expensive, right? Let's break it down for just a minute and get into the details. Okay, so let's look at Rift. Rift takes 40 stamina per entry. So we're going to assume one entry clears for this first little bit. You do one entry, you get 2 pieces of gear, and if you're running a Rift pet, you have a 10% chance to receive an additional piece of gear. So we're going to math this out at 2.1 pieces of gear for every 40 stamina that you spend, right? So at 2.1 pieces of gear for 40 stamina spent, let's go and compare that to Otherworldly Hunts. Now, in Otherworldly Hunts, you get 6 pieces of gear. And with your pet, there's an 11% chance to get an additional piece of gear. So this is a 6.11 pieces of gear per 160 stamina. So 2.1 for 40 versus 6.11 for 160 stamina. How does that math out? That means you're getting roughly 3.8 pieces of gear per 100 stamina spent on hunts, and you're getting 5.25 pieces of gear per 100 stamina spent on Rift. So yes, you will get more volume of gear for Rift, 37% more gear from Rift than you'll get for Hunt. But Rift has no chance to get the Otherworldly gear, whereas Otherworldly Hunt has the chance for Otherworldly gear. So you're taking a 37% reduction in volume of gear for the chance at getting that super high tier gear. So yeah, Rift still does give more gear per stamina, pound for pound. Gold is kind of crazy. When you beat Rift, you get 54,000 gold. When you beat Otherworldly, you get 216,000 gold, which is exactly 4 times the amount of gold you get from Rift for exactly 4 times the amount of stamina. So gold per gold, 1 turn clear of Rift is the exact same gold per stamina as doing a hunt. Now, if you drop down to a 2 turn clear Rift, or God forbid, a 3 turn clear Rift, then hunts are significantly better for volume of gear and gold. Rift is only better on gear for 1 turn clears. And you have that huge debt, right? That huge debt of doing tons of Rift to get to the point where you can do 1 turn clears. Nobody does 1 turn clears day 1, not since Wukong. Usually it is 3 and 4 turn clears, and then you slowly work your way up to 1 turn clears. So you got that stamina debt to get to the point where you're making 4 pieces of gear in place of 3. The benefits of Rift are you can choose your set. If you are relatively new and you've got the capability of doing Rift, you can choose the 4 pieces of gear you want to chase. If you want to go after immunity and destruction and speed and torrent, you can do all of that in 1 Rift run. You can select those pieces of gear and hard farm those pieces. But if you want to do that in Otherworldly Hunt, you got to farm 4 different hunts and deal with the other bullshit that's out there with only a 25 to 33% chance to get the sets you're chasing. So when you're focusing on specific gear, I need to have more speed gear. Yeah, you can farm Hunt and just have a 1 in 3 chance of speed gear, but you got a 2 in 3 chance of having something that's garbage. Whereas with Rift, you can make sure that even if you don't get that speed gear, the other 3 sets are also sets you're chasing. So that customizability is kind of nice, and that might be a reason that you would want to farm Rift early on to seed the to seed your account, to get the baseline gear you need to run. I think Rift is still really good for seeding that baseline of gear that you need, and it's going to give you more gear and more gear that's specifically the kind of gear you want to be able to build up. But once you've got that baseline covered, there's almost no reason to run Rift anymore. There's no chance for it to be Otherworldly gear. It's random on the Reforge mats. You want to be building up your speed gear? Well, if you pick speed gear and Rift, that's fine. You might still just get golem mats on the drops, but here you can hard focus on the mats you want. And the mat drop per stamina does seem very, very similar. The only other question is, what about the otherworldly gear? Well, when you do otherworldly hunts, you can have a chance for that gear to be otherworldly. When you do Rift, there is 0 chance for that gear to be otherworldly. Here's a summary of everything that I've gone over so far. Okay, so 6.11 gear per run on otherworldly divided by 160 per run times 100 stamina, 3.8 pieces of gear per 100 stamina from otherworldly hunt and otherworldly breach, versus 1 turn clear Rift, 5.25 pieces of gear, more gear. Raw, you just get more gear from Rift. There's no two bones about it, except when you're doing 2 turn clears, hunts are better. 3 turn clears, hunts are significantly better. God forbid, we'll talk about 4 turn clears. So for the stamina and gear, if you're just looking at gear, Rift is better for volume once you get there, but the climb it's going to take, the stamina cost to get there, I think otherworldly might win out on gear when you consider you can get otherworldly gear from it. But if you're just starting out and you're trying to seed your account and you just want quantity over quality to get your baseline seeded, maybe Rift a little better. Now, gold is exactly the same. It's 1,350 gold per stamina for a 1 turn clear on Rift versus breach or hunt. It all pays the same. So there is no gold advantage unless you want to go so far as to say, well, if I'm getting 4 pieces of gear instead of 3, that's potentially more gear to sold for gold. Then yeah, okay, theoretically you can get more gold from Rift because you've got more gear that's garbage that you're selling for gold. It's a minuscule difference, but I'm going to go just on record as saying there's practically no difference in gold, Rift, hunt, or breach. Unless you're in the 2 and 3 turn clear, then the gold income is terrible. And let's be real, guys, if you need gold, you aren't farming hunt, breach, or Rift. You're farming eulogy for a saint, or you're farming AP adventure, because that's where the gold is, because that's where the stigma is. The reforged mats is huge. With otherworldly hunt, you can specifically chase the reforged mats of your choice and not just keep stacking up the reforged mats you don't want or need. The big question, though, is otherworldly rates. How often does otherworldly gear drop? I've not done a bunch of runs, so these numbers could change greatly. But after my roughly 55 runs so far, 18 into breach and 36 into hunt, these are the numbers I've come up with. And again, don't take this to the bank. I've got to do hundreds of runs before I really feel comfortable saying these are the rates. This will come out more and more, but it does feel like breach has way better otherworldly drop rates than hunts. It feels like hunts are somewhere between 1.5 and 2.5% drop rate. That's not a lot. That's 1 piece of gear every 40 to 50 pieces of gear that drop. So when 6 pieces of gear drop, you're talking about seeing an otherworldly piece every 8 to 10 runs. Whereas breach dropped a little bit higher, a little bit, like 3 times as often did I get otherworldly gear from breach. And that could have just been that I was lucky, or it could be it genuinely has higher rates. We'll have to look into it and see. But the one thing that is for sure is there is no chance for otherworldly gear from Rift. So the people that are like, but it's so expensive, it's so punitive, it's only for whales, it takes so much. It's not. It's buying in bulk. Buying in bulk is expensive, but the value per dollar is better compared to lower end Rift. And as we all know, Rift, if you can do Rift in 3 turns, you're already better than normal hunts. So all of this is significantly better than normal hunts. Even Rift in 3 turn clears is better than normal hunts, and otherworldly breach is light years ahead of normal Rift. So yeah, the whole point of this is to be more respectful of your time, the amount of time you're going to spend in the game. Yeah, it feels crazy dropping 160 stamina, burning 2 leafs at a time on a single run, but you're getting practically the same gear with shots at otherworldly gear, the exact same gold, the same reforged mats. Everything is the same and or a little bit better. What does this mean for the future of Rift? I cannot think of a reason to ever farm Rift again. Once you've got your baseline of gear done and you've got all of the gear that you need to get your basic stuff done, I'm never farming Rift again. think about that before you buy Robin. I am not sure Smilegate is going to do Rift again in its existing format because Rift is slow. Otherworldly is fast. Rift is very, very, very slow. It takes pretty high-end gear. It's a slow slog to get there. It's the antithesis of everything Smilegate said in their big production about being more respectful of the player's time and giving us the ability to enjoy the game where we want to enjoy it and not feel trapped in slow, monotonous grinds. I suspect Rift next season will be retooled to work with the Otherworldly gear or changed into something different. We'll have to see. All right, guys, so that's my take on it. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care, Epic 7.